Warning, the following images might be disturbing for yarn lovers, knitters, fiber artists, all alike. Viewer discretion advised. What do you say? My Sophie Scarf looks like it has been mauled by a wild animal. Funny story, because that might just have been what happened. So 2 weeks ago I went on a hike with my mom, but because as it is still chilly outside, at first I was wearing my dainty little Sophie Scarf around my neck. However, as you are hiking, things get warmer, and a sensible person would have put their scarf in their backpack, but I tied it around my backpack. And then when we came home, I noticed that I had lost my scarf. I had resigned to the fact that I would never see my Sophie Scarf again, that it was lost forever in the wilderness, or that somebody would pick it up and claim it as their own, because why wouldn't you? It's a lovely Sophie Scarf. However, yesterday I went on another hike with my mom, which had approximately a 500-meter overlap with the previous hike. But yes, in the orchard, that was the overlap. I saw it, it was there. The gasp, I gasped. The silent scream, I scrumped. My Sophie Scarf was still there. She's back in my possession. However, she has been in someone else's possession before me. She does look nibbled on. And this is where the knot was, where I tied it to my backpack. And because it has been raining over the past 2 weeks, it's also lost its shape. But this Sophie Scarf deserves to be mended and repaired, so I can use it once more and hopefully put it in my backpack next hike. So let's assess. I think the green bit of the scarf is actually still in pretty good shape, except for, you know, some warping, but I think after we stabilize the scarf, we can just block this out, right? Everything seems still intact as long as it is green. Some of my threads, my woven in ends, have gotten loose, but no worry, no worry. It's when we get to the brown part, like the golden threads, those have been chewed on. Like over here, this edge is missing. Here is a rather big gap missing. It is hanging on for dear life over here. And then there, I think that's it. Is it 2 places? No, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 places that she has been nibbled on. Now in theory, I do still have this bit of that brown and green yarn, so I could like invisibly, well, as far as my skills go, I could mend her with the same colors. But I think that isn't quite chaotic enough. Like, this scarf has a story to tell now. I mean, if she could talk, I want to know what actually attacked her. What happened to her in those 2 weeks that she was left alone in the orchard. And I should also apologize for having her left alone in the orchard, of course. But I think to give her like the actual battle scars that she has. She's been in the wilderness for 2 weeks and has fought bravely with probably a rodent. I think we're going to use something quite contrasting, like this purple 3-ply. It should be the same thickness as the green yarn, because I spun them together to be socks. Remember, that was a previous video. But I think it would be nice to mend her with purple instead of green. Now for the technique. I am abhorrent in Swiss darning on my best days, so I'm not even going to bother trying to find out if I can do something akin to Swiss darning to make it look like garter stitch instead of stockinette. I'm just going to do some regular darning, you know, going across, going that way, like a little bit of a woven patch. And I'm going to start with this one in the middle because I want to stabilize this first. These two, I'm not scared that they will completely unravel and then split my scarf in two. This one, however, is really on the edge. I'm making my warp threads go a little bit further into the scarf so that there is like an anchoring, a security. I don't know if I can catch all the loops, all the loose stitches, but at least I hope it doesn't completely unravel afterwards. Because we're trying to save this scarf, not ruin it even more. I am fully aware that there are probably people out there that will argue that what I'm doing is ridiculous, because I'm almost putting more effort in the saving of this scarf than I did in the making of this scarf. So it makes absolutely no logic sense to do this, but I also know that those people are not watching this video. So you all know that stuff is just worth mending, worth repairing, and that in doing so you're actually being kind of a little bit of a rebel, showing a proverbial middle finger to capitalism and fast fashion and all that stuff. So I did put a lot of work in this scarf. Like, I spun all the green and brown yarn myself. Hello, that is priceless. You do not put a price tag on my work. And it's also just sentimental. This was my scarf. And the universe has given me a second chance with my scarf. I was able to find it back. I'm so happy for that, so I'm going to repair it, of course. It's also not the first time in my life that I lose some of my precious knitwear. It is, however, the first time that I find my lost precious knitwear. But that's mostly because the other knitwear that I lost, I actually lost on the bus. And somehow when you lose something on the bus, it is lost forever. It will never turn up in Lost and Found. And you just have to resign yourself to the fact that you will never ever see that item again, even if it is a lovely crochet hat that you made with your very first fancy yarn. Like, I bought some kind of Kacha, I think it was Kacha Aztec or something, a self-striping colored yarn. The basis was blue and it had all other kinds of colors, and I really loved it. It was a very simple single crochet hat, but I lost it on the bus. I called Lost and Found a couple of times, but no, they never found the hat on the bus. They also never found my train card, nor my second set of prescription glasses. Someone out there is walking around with lovely red glasses with, I think back then I had like minus 3.25. If I found them again right now, I wouldn't have any use for them because my eyesight has worsened. But yeah, somehow that also never got found on the bus. Beats me. Anyway, the wilderness is much kinder. And when you lose a scarf in an orchard, you will find it again, 2 weeks later even. Lost and Found for Belgian orchards, 10 out of 10. Do recommend, you will get your stuff back. What about you? Have you ever lost some of your precious handmade stuff? And where did you lose it? Did you ever get it back? My visible mending skills are also not something to write home about, but here I am still making a video. I'm not really interested in making it look super pretty right now. I just want my scarf back, and I think it will be sturdy enough. Like, I think I have managed to fixate this very fragile point over here. I follow quite a lot of visible mending accounts on social media, and the work they do is just stunning, and I have quite a bit of crafters envy for their skill. And I know the only thing to get to that level is, of course, practice. So let's, I'm also seeing this as an opportunity for that. So must I thank the rodent or whatever animal that has attacked my scarf? Nah, maybe that's a step too far though. Well, I am going to thank it for not dragging it into its burrow or whatever hole it has and leaving it on the grass where I could find it. So here's our first and biggest tear finished. I did some notching on the side to emulate the I-cord edge, and I think it looks actually pretty decent. I mean, I'm going to repeat, it's not pretty, but it's fixed and yeah, stable. However, I kind of also don't think this is enough contrast, so I might mend the two other holes that are slightly smaller with even brighter yarn. Really make sure that people see that I did mend this scarf. I took the time to mend my silly little scarf, and I'm going to show the entire world that clothing are meant to be mended. They are worth it. Even when they're not handmade, actually. This is special because it's handmade, hand knit, hand spun. But even if it wasn't, I would repair it. I have found some very shiny, fancy thin yarn. These are two skeins that were samplers from Regenbogenwolle, and I think they will just, they are going to give such a nice pop of color to my already colorful, but not colorful enough scarf. And I think now it is time to pamper our little Robinson scarf away with a nice bath to relax all of the stitches, to get her back in shape. Luckily, Sophie Scarf is such a small, tiny and thin thing that it dries in a couple of hours. As good as new. As good as new? No, this is better than new. I am so grateful to have my scarf back, and I have a really crazy story to tell about this scarf now. And it also just looks a lot more badass with these patches. Tell me, what is the craziest incident one of your handmade items got into? It doesn't have to be a story where you had to, in the end, repair it. Just what is the craziest story you can tell about one of your handmade items. I mean, being lost in the wilderness for 2 weeks and then being mauled by a wild animal, think tops my list of crazy stories for now. But I am interested in what adventures your projects have found themselves. Visible and invisible mending is still a skill that I need to work on, but I'm quite happy with how this one turned out. Like my scarf has its shape again, kind of has the illusion of having the I-cord edging as well. So all in all, I'm pretty happy and proud with my work, even though it's like woven instead of like a knit stitch. It's quite serendipitous that I found it again at this point of year. With it being this close to Easter, this is a resurrection story if ever I saw one. My scarf has been resurrected. I don't know if this video gets to the length of what my videos normally are, but then again, this was also just a short and sweet quick fix. So I hope this was also a short and sweet quick fiber shenanigans fix for you. And if you like these kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment or subscribe, but of course that is all up to you. And as for me, and yes, also for Sophie, we will see you in a next video, but before we do that, here are some more knitting shenanigans or spinning shenanigans, whatever you like. Bye!